It's Monday, November 3rd, 2025. It's the our first podcast after the time changes. Now it's getting dark, I think, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon already here in Michigan, anyway. At least that's what it feels like. And I don't even know what time it is where our guest's at or where Nick's at or anything, but regardless of all that, it is time for the Knee Jerks podcast with Eno, Nick, and Big Al. I am the Big Al of the equation, Al Beaton, longtime Detroit-based podcaster. Joining me, as always, is first off our West Coast correspondent. That would be Mr. Nick Milanovich. Nick, how's things on the West Coast?
Not too bad out here, and you ain't kidding about that darkness hitting early.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost completely dark outside, and so... But that's fine. I don't mind it. It's rainy, it's dark, and people have called me a mushroom in the past. So,
hey, you're in good company because that's what Gordie Howe called himself once, where he said they stuck him in the corner and threw shit on him. So, so you're in good company.
I guess I could. I've had worse comparisons in my life, so yeah.
Okay, and always joining me on this podcast is my longtime co-host, co-creator, whatever you'd like to say. He runs the Greg Eno Out of Bounds Substack. He actually wrote about our topic, what we're going to be talking about, basketball in a little bit today. But Greg, how are things? Did you enjoy your vacation? Because we missed you on our last show.
Yeah, Chris Palme was here, did a great job. Thank you to Chris for filling in. I enjoyed myself. We were camping out in the Port Huron area. Lots of fun. Beautiful weather for the most part. The town was just all dolled up for Halloween. Port Huron's a very Halloween-ish type of town because they've got a lot of older homes built in like the 20s, 30s, and 40s. And it's almost like you walk onto the set of Haddonfield. In those Halloween movies, you practically expect Jamie Lee Curtis to be walking down the street. I mean, it's really a fun little town for Halloween. So we were there for about a week and enjoyed it immensely. Got squeezed one more camping trip in before we have to take the rig in for winterizing this week. But lots of fun. Thank you to Chris Palme again. Shout out to Chris for filling in. Did a great job. I am Greg Eno from my Greg Eno Substack, gregeno.substack.com. Please subscribe to me. I'll be in your inbox every Monday. Today, as Al mentioned, I wrote a piece on the Pistons and embracing this identity that they like to call controlling the chaos. That's their theme for 2025, 2026. So I talked about that a little bit today and compared it to the other two Pistons championship teams. Not the other two. The two Pistons championship teams that had brands of their own, the Bad Boys and Going to Work. So we'll see if this brand will work for the Pistons in the long run. So please do that. Follow me on Twitter at Greg Eno, or X if you choose to call it that, at Greg Eno. Follow the Knee Jerks, of course, at the Knee Jerks. Our guest is one of our favorites. It's basketball time, guys, and you know what that means. Our NBA stats guru, Siddy Hall, is here with us. As you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the Siddy there in the lower right. He's here with us tonight. We're going to be talking Pistons. We're going to have a little bit of fun too. He's going to give us a quiz. We're going to talk about Pistons. Where are they now? We're going to do a little bit of Trajan Langdon, 1.5 or 1 and some change years in. Lots of stuff Siddy's got for us while he's here tonight. Siddy, thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Hello. And first, I got to say thank you for the coffee, the comfort, the hospitality in the green room. You guys are first class.
Provided by yourself.
Yeah.
Well, since you showed up an hour early, you had to wait for an hour and a half before you came on. The time change. It's the least we could do.
That's right.
Yeah, the time change caught Siddy off guard. They do not change clocks down in Brazil.
We do not. We stopped doing that. You know, people talk about that a lot. Let's stop doing that. We did it.
Yeah. Well, I wish we would do the same thing here in the States.
Right.
Anyway, we are going to be talking Pistons. But before we do that, of course, we have to play a game we like to call Whose Birthday Is It, Maestro? Everybody knows how we play this game by now. We give Al and Nick a clue or two or three of an individual whose birthday it is today in the world of sports. And if one of those two gentlemen can correctly guess this person within the first two clues, he will receive that 1970s toy that was the forerunner of cornhole. And, of course, I'm talking about Toss Across. you'll receive Toss Across. If you can,
That was a fun game. Remember, we had it at the end of the hallway. We would play Toss Across. Yeah.
Toss Across is at stake here. This person, guys, made his name in the world of football. He was born on this date in 1944. Sadly, he passed away in 2015, so he's no longer with us. But Lions fans will certainly know this gentleman. He played for the Lions, was a number one draft pick, as a matter of fact. I believe he was number one draft pick. Let me double check that. Yes, he was the first round draft pick of the Lions, and was a very successful businessman afterward. That probably gave it away.
Yeah, probably what, Mel Farr?
It's Mel Farr, yeah. Mel Farr. Superstar.
Mel Farr, superstar, yes.
Yeah, Mel Farr, superstar, who was always hurt. He and Nick Eddy. My dad loved Nick Eddy, by the way. He was in love with Nick Eddy. Nick Eddy, of course, was the Notre Dame. Nick Eddy was always hurt. He was hurt more than Mel Farr was, but my dad latched on to Nick Eddy, and Nick Eddy could not stay on the field. Mel Farr could stay on the field a little bit more than Nick Eddy but Mel was beset by knee injuries, and his career was cut short at the age of 29 because of that, but went into very successful, as we all know, Ford Motor dealership, Mel Farr Superstar, which I think was on Greenfield, and 11 mile-ish or 10 mile was Mel's dealership. So Mel's gone. A couple of his sons play for the Lions, Mel Farr Jr. and
that's right, wide receiver,
and Mike Farr, both
yeah.
play for the Lions. So and then Mel's brother Miller also played for the Lions, and together with Mel. But Miller Farr mainly was a DB. Miller Farr mainly played for the Cardinals. Anyway, enough of that. So good stuff for Al. He gets the Toss Across, so you get to relive their hallway exploits.
I can't wait. Well, I probably drove my parents nuts playing toss. It was all plastic, and he had bean bags. And you throw the beanbag and would crash into it trying to play tic-tac-toe. But, yes, brings back good memories. I'll put it right next to my electric football and my Skittle bowling. So.
Oh, wow, Skittle bowling.
Yeah. Oh, talking about loud. That thing, oh, my God, with the wood pins and everything and the plastic base. Oh, my God. Anyway, Greg, I'll let you do the honors as why don't you give Siddy a proper introduction?
Well, I thought I did, but
well, give it to us again.
We have to introduce him twice. Siddy Hall has been coming on this program for it's probably been about 5 years now. And we bring him on at the beginning of the NBA season. We bring him on halfway through, and then in last year's case, we actually brought him on
for the playoffs. Yes.
Yeah, which was the first time any of us on the Knee Jerks have been able to talk Pistons playoffs in some years. And Pistons, I shouldn't say first time Pistons playoffs, but first time Pistons playoff victory in 16 years. Right. And Siddy's here. And Siddy, we're going to kind of let you, first of all, before we get into your little agenda, why don't you just get us caught up on what you've been doing? It's been a little while since we've seen you. What's going on? You mentioned you moved. What's going on in the world of Siddy Hall?
Well, you just, it's kind of like moving around the block, from one place to another. Nothing. Well, moving is always a big event.
Right. Sure.
But nothing too long distance involved. It was a walking distance. So it's getting situated, but things are pretty calm, pretty much the same. Just preparing I'm going to a concert in 2 weeks. Going to see Dua Lipa in less than 2 weeks. I hope any Dua Lipa fans in the sports world, I don't know, can guys admit to being a Dua Lipa fan? I am. I like Dua. But anyway, I will be seeing her with 70,000 crazy Brazilians, and it will be loud, I'm sure. But anyhow, enough of that. We're here to talk basketball. And before we get going, I just want to do a review. Where are they now? So much turnover in the Pistons roster. There has been a lot of turnover the last couple of years. So first, I just want to start with where are they now active players. Saddiq Bey is finally playing after sitting out more than a year, and he has just been following Troy Weaver around. Troy went to Washington, and Sadiq's got a great agent who managed to convince Washington to sign him for 3 years at $8 million a year while he was recovering from an ACL. And now Troy is in New Orleans with Joe Dumars. I mean, that's a rabbit hole there. We should just save that for later.
Yeah.
It's not looking good. And but anyway, Sadiq is now there with them, coming off the bench. Other guys, Isaiah Livers. He's back in the NBA. And I'll give you a nickel if you can tell me what team he's on. Starts with a P.
Not the Pacers.
The city or the
The city starts with a P, yeah.
City.
I'm old school. I still call teams by their city. Phoenix. He's with the Phoenix Suns.
Phoenix.
And he just saw his first action since being a Piston. He never played again after being traded to Washington. Now, you probably don't know this, but Ron Harper Jr., you may not even know he's a former Piston, but he did play one game last year, shot 1 for 8, and that earned him a chance with the Boston Celtics. And he's now with them. Zvi Mikhailuk is the starting shooting guard, at the end of last year with Utah. You know, this is a guy the Pistons traded for Amadou Diallo, and Troy threw in the sweetener, the second rounder. Diallo's long gone, and Zvi Mikhailuk is a starting shooting guard in the NBA. But Boston again, Luka Garza has found a new home. And, you know, Boston got rid of Porzingis, Horford, and Luke Cornett. They're out of big men almost, and they signed Garza. Who else? Lindy Waters III, if you remember him. He came to Detroit late last year. He is now a Spur. And then Simone Fontecchio has just been lighting it up with Miami. You know, so here we go. Fontecchio, the guy we traded the first pick in the second round to have the ability to re-sign him. You know, I've talked about this in the past. You know, Troy Weaver should have just waited for the season to end, sign him as a free agent, keep the draft pick. We traded the draft pick to Utah, and who is now Kyle, Flipowski, who was an excellent rookie last year and will be with them presumably for the next 8 years at least, or be traded. And Detroit now has Duncan Robinson to show for that. All right, and anyway, gone. My list of players who have disappeared. It's so long. You know, it's like go down my screen. Starting with the strangest one, I think, is James Wiseman, who he was with Indy, tore his Achilles, was traded to Toronto. Indy re-signed him, and they had like this four-headed monster at center as a replacement for Miles Turner. Wiseman got one start and was cut. So what does that mean? Good luck trying to figure that out. Bogey retired. It looks like Alec Burks is out of the league. Maybe he will reappear. But those two guys were traded. And of course, Bogey, we talked about it. The opportunity to strike, you know, get something back for him. They didn't do it. And they got something for him. They got, you know, Quentin Grimes, who became Hardaway, who I guess became Karis LeVert in terms of salary. But, you know, Reggie Jackson appears to be out of the league. Monte Morris, remember they're so excited to get him. It looks like he's out of the league. Maybe he'll show up again. Buddy Boeheim was in training camp with Oklahoma City, but did not stick. But he may still be, you know, on their G League. I'm not sure. Lee finally is out of the league. Remember, he was drafted with Killian and those guys. He lasted, I think, 4 years. Kevin Knox, it looks like he's out of the league. Trey Lyles is now in Europe. Killian Hayes, it looks like he's on the Cleveland G League team. Jahlil Okafor played one game last year, just like James Wiseman with Indy. Malik Beasley, of course. Taj Gibson. Malachi Flynn, Troy Brown Jr., Jared Rhodes is now in France. I mean, the list is just endless.
Are
And
some
it's
of these
almost
names
all guys
real?
from
I'm
that-
just, I'm really, you could just say, and Herman
Doing a
Menderchuk,
recognized
and, you know, like,
this is the 14 and 68 team.
yeah, that's great.
That's right
Yeah.
there. I'm reading you the roster from 14 and 68 almost.
That's how bad things were back then, Siddy, is that team was literally nothing but to call them G League worthy is being generous. My goodness, some of those names you're bringing back.
Yeah,
It's just
poor
2 years
Malachi
ago, guys.
Flynn.
That's just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
not
happened
long
to,
ago, right?
What happened to Dennis Schroeder?
Schroeder is now the starting point guard for Sacramento.
Yeah.
Is he still there? I thought they cut him or they released him.
No, they signed him to big money. Not big,
Okay,
big
okay.
money, but he got paid.
Oh,
That's why
I thought he.
probably had
I remember
one
he signed, but I thought he got released. But okay.
Yeah, no. So anyway, that's that. So let's go to our quiz. I want to test your knowledge. This one's going to be a little bit different than the others. I want to start with. You can help me out on how to say this correctly. I want to talk about what elder statesman. You know, the guy with the longest continuous service with the team. And I want to just choose different periods of time from the past. Try to tell me who was the elder statesman on that team. What's a better word? Elder statesman means the oldest guy. That's not accurate. What would we
Longest
call that?
tenured, or, you know,
Longest tenured. Okay.
yeah.
So current team. Who is the
Yeah.
longest tenured Piston right now?
Stewart.
Yeah, that was my guess, too.
Yeah, Beef Stew is the marker. You know, I always used to say it's the 10-year plan, and it's now year 6. This is Beef Stew's 6th year.
He's been in the league that long now at this point? That's a God.
I think this
It
is.
seems like he was just a
fifth year.
rookie not long
This is-
ago.
This is his 5th year, City. He started in 2021. So this is his 5th year.
21, 22. Well, let's check it out.
Regardless,
I
that's
gotta
still, it's still,
It's still,
time flies.
Yeah. Still.
All right, I'm going to click on him, on his career, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this is the beginning of year 6. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and then this year's 26.
I thought he debuted in 2020, the 2021-2022 season. No.
No, 2021. The year Troy Weaver arrived was the 2020 season.
Okay. All right.
And that was the year he
Stand
was
corrected.
drafted.
Stand
Sadiq,
corrected.
Saden Lee, Killian.
Okay.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at NBA reference. He
Okay.
is entering. This is the beginning of year 6.
Wow.
So, and now, you know, so that's a long time, right? I mean, it's a long time to be in this rebuild. And, you know, we had this amazing leap. The Pistons had an amazing leap last year from 14 to 43 wins, but that was a 6-year climb, really. Okay, so anyway, let's go to a different period of time. When the Pistons won the championship, their last championship in 2004, who was the longest tenured Piston at the time of winning the championship?
Wow.
Yeah.
2000. That's a good one. Well, Lindsey Hunter left and came back, so I don't think.
Good point. Yeah, that's an excellent, good memory, Greg. Is not Lindsey Hunter for that reason.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be him.
Then I would say it would it have been Ben?
I would say
Chauncey?
Wallace.
Correct.
Rip?
You
They
are
all came
right.
around at the same time.
It is Ben Wallace.
Ben? Okay.
That was year 4 of Ben Wallace, and that made him the longest tenured Piston at that time.
Wow.
All right, let's go back to if you go back to the Piston championship team, with the first championship team with Isaiah, longest tenured was
Isaiah.
Yeah. Who was second?
Lambeer.
Lambeer probably, because he was acquired that year, wasn't he? Or
Almost.
you could go again. John
Almost.
Long left and came back. John
Correct.
Long left and came back.
Good memory.
Was it?
Yes. Now you are right about Lambier. He was acquired that year, but so was another player.
Oh, Vinny.
Right.
Vinny.
Vinny Johnson. Vinny arrived very early in the season. So what a year. They got Isaiah and Lambier and Vinny in the same year.
Did they not get Vinny for Greg Kelser? Or am I
That
making
is
it
correct.
up? Okay.
Right, for Kelser. Okay, so you guys are doing great. Let's go back to Isaiah's rookie year.
Oh, boy.
When that season began, remember that he came on board with Pelly Tripucka, who was the longest tenured Piston at that time.
Ooh.
This would be, 1981,
That's a good one.
I believe.
Yeah.
The 81-82 season.
That's a good one. That might be Long and Tyler, right?
Yes! Greg Eno's on fire!
Yeah. The refugees from the Dickie V era. Yeah.
They only had 3 years experience, and that made them the longest tenured Pistons. Okay, now let's go back to the moment in, I guess it was 1980, when Bob Lanier was traded.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, he was in year 10 of his career with Detroit. So after he was traded to Milwaukee, who was the longest tenured Piston?
Ouch.
That's before my time, guys.
You're bowing out?
After he was traded, who was the longest tenured Piston?
God.
And I'll give you a clue.
Okay.
It was someone who was drafted by the Pistons, a first-round draft pick.
Okay.
First round pick.
Wasn't Kent Benson, was it?
No, he was part of the trade for Lambier.
Yeah.
Not before Lanier. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Let's think about this for a second.
God.
I'm trying to think who was on that team.
First rounder out of the Southeast Conference.
What position did he play?
That's going to give it away. He was a big
is
man.
it going to give it away?
Big man? Maybe it'll give it away. Big man.
Big man.
The other big man. Yeah.
Oh, Leon Douglas?
Right.
Oh,
Leon
my God,
Douglas.
Greg, you pulled that one. I haven't thought of Leon Douglas's name in like 40-some years at least. Oh my
never heard
God,
of him
Leon
until
Douglas.
He went to Alabama.
Yeah,
We
that's
got to
right.
school Nick on the Piston first rounders through the years, right? The good, the bad, the ugly, right? Leon was okay.
He was all right. Yeah, he was okay.
Yeah, he was not a bad player, to say the very least. We've seen a lot worse first-round picks come through Detroit. So.
No, I think Leon would have been a good player on one of those, on like either the bad boys team or the going to work team. He was like a banger. He wasn't, he didn't have much of a touch. He liked to muck it up and bang it. He was a physical guy. I think he would have been good on those championship teams as like a depth guy. I really do.
All right, and let's go to the next one. Is the 1974 playoff team, the team that won 50 games.
Yep.
Who was the longest tenured player on that team?
Well, that had to be Bing.
Yeah, that would be my answer as well.
That's right, Dave Bing. That was year 8 for him. Let's go back. Now this is getting tougher, of course. Dave Bing's rookie year, 1966-67.
Yeah.
It's not easy, of course. All I'll say is that it's someone you've heard of.
What longest tenured again?
In 1966-67,
Was Dave DeBusschere still around at that point?
He was on that team, but he was not.
It was not him, though.
I think it was Ray Scott.
Yes, Greg Eno on fire. Unbelievable.
Well, I hear Bean even celebrating all this. My goodness.
Ray Scott was entering year 6, and he was the oldest player on the team at age 28. Dave DeBusschere was the player coach, and he was younger than Ray.
Right. Was that the year Ray was traded to?
That's correct. He was traded later that year to the Bullets. Okay. Right. All right, and one more. This, of course, this is tough, but the year the Pistons moved to Detroit, the 1957-58 season, If you want to take a wild guess, who was the longest tenured Piston?
Well, the first guy who would come to mind would be George Yardley.
Yeah, Yardley.
You are correct.
Yeah. Because that's the only one I would know. He wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, pretty much.
He was entering year 5, and what's interesting, that team actually had 5 future Hall of Famers.
Really?
And they went 33 and 39 or something like that. They had acquired from the Knicks Harry Gallatin and Dick McGuire, both who were near the ends of their career.
Yeah.
They also acquired Nat Sweetwater Clifton, and then Yardley. And then there's a guy named Bobby Hubregs, and I can't tell you much about Bobby Hubregs, but I will say, Nick, he's from your neck of the woods. He had a great career, I believe, at the University of Washington, and is part of the folklore in that region of the world. So,
you'll have me on Wikipedia for the rest of the evening, just because it's
make sure these names are real for all these names for his time.
What? Siddy, wasn't Sweetwater Clifton like maybe the second ever black player in the NBA after Earl Lloyd?
Not sure, but he got in. He entered the league early.
Because actually, the reason that name's familiar because there was just an article in the Athletic about that, and I believe you're right, Greg. I believe he was the second black man, second or third black man in the league.
Did he play for the Globetrotters, or were we making that?
Probably, yeah. They gotta, they had to eat right before they were allowed in. So,
nice. Well, thank you.
Yeah, but he had a career. Okay, anyway, I guess we could just continue a couple more quiz questions, different subjects. The Detroit-Denver highest scoring game, that is now how many years old? 42 years old. Yeah. 186, 184, I believe, double or triple overtime. Yeah. Let's see, just take a stab at starting lineups. Who was the starting lineup for Detroit in 1983, December of 1983? Who would be in the starting lineup that day?
Well, Isaiah
and Tripucka.
Lambier.
And Lambier.
Tyler?
Correct. No, Terry was off the bench.
Was Vinny off the bench, or was Vinny?
Nick is correct. John Long. Okay, so you got the backcourts, Thomas and Long. Okay. Tripucka at the 3. Lambier. Right. Who's the power forward?
Kiritan?
No.
But
Earl Kiritan is the answer to the next question: is who played the most minutes off the bench?
Okay.
Oh.
And he played more minutes than the starter.
Wow.
The power forward of that era. God.
Former first round pick.
Of the Pistons or of another team?
Pistons.
It wasn't Tyler. He said.
I hope so. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I got to double check. I think that's correct. But
wow.
Let me double check right now.
Power forward. I don't know who that was.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
All right. Well, I'm double checking before my potential error here. Yeah, he was a first round pick by Detroit, Cliff Livingston.
Oh, Livingston.
Uncle Cliffy, yeah.
Wichita State? Right. Or no, maybe not.
That's right. Yeah, they drafted him and Antoine Carr from the same school.
Oh, that's that's right.
Yeah. Carr never played for the Pistons, did he?
I don't think he did.
Yeah, I think there was a contract scenario there. Yeah.
All right, so we got the starting 5, Kiritan off the bench. How about Denver? Do you want to try that?
Oh, God. Issel?
They had 3 big scorers. Issel was one.
Kiki Vandeweghe?
Kiki Vandeweghe, Alex English.
And
then the backcourt gets...
Who?
Pardon me?
Adrian Dantley. Wasn't he on the Nuggets?
No,
he was not.
It's one of the few teams he didn't play for.
Yeah, right.
What about Hanslick?
Good guess. He came off the bench that game. He played a lot of minutes. He came off the bench. He was not in Denver yet. He was with Portland at that time. But one guy you've heard of. He's a defensive. a very rare defensive specialist at the shooting guard.
T.R.
Which
Dunn?
was unheard of. T.R. Dunn. It was unheard of in that era. Now, the point guard's a tough one. I would never get it. It was Rob Williams.
Oh, God,
first
no.
round
No.
pick. Played 2 years. That was his second year, and then he was out of the league. And off the bench was Mike Evans, who was like a three-point gunner. All right, last question. This one, I don't know, I hope you can follow me on this, but the three-pointer. This is year 40, I think it's year 47 that the three-pointer is being used in the NBA.
Yeah.
I want to talk about, the best three-point shooter each year in terms of, not just percentage, but volume and how those two numbers mix. Think Steph Curry as being the best example, but sometimes the best player in this way can be a guy with kind of a medium scoring load who shoots the lights out from three for a year. Guys like, for example, Luke Kennard. He has not done it, but he's been close. He's, been blocked by Steph Curry normally. But with that being said, 46 years, there has never been a Piston to be the number one guy. But 3 Pistons have been the best shooter in other uniforms, including the first year that the three-pointer was implemented. Who would that be?
Chris Ford?
Correct. Chris Ford,
when he was a Celtic, I take it.
As a Celtic, that's right. Now, the second time it happened was in 1999-2000. A former Piston was the best, most effective three-point shooter that year.
Wow.
He was with the Knicks. I guess can't remember the name if I remember.
First round pick.
That's who I was going to say. Allen Houston, you got it, Nick.
That's a great guess, but it's not him.
No, I would have thought it was him. Oh, my.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to give it to you because this one's just too hard. It's Lindsey Hunter.
You're kidding.
Oh, really?
If you look at his 1999-2000 numbers, he shot the lights out from three.
Wow.
With like a medium scoring load, and that was enough. Back then there weren't a lot of great shooters.
And Lindsey was like a 39% two-point shooter. Really? He was awful.
1 year he put it together.
God,
and then finally the last one is a current Piston.
Not Duncan Robinson.
That's correct.
Oh, yeah.
Really? Oh, okay.
When he entered the league with Miami, he was unstoppable. And in fact, his performance that year, I have it as the 6th best three-point shooting season in NBA history.
I was absolutely right about Lindsey Hunter. His career two-point field goal percentage is 38.8.
Wow.
What's his 30-point
shoot? Yeah. And in 99-2000, what did he shoot on his threes?
43%.
Damn,
Yeah.
And Duncan Robinson, after watching him play at Michigan, I never would have thought he had a long NBA career coming, but he really turned into a sharpshooter. He found a role. In today's NBA, if you can shoot from deep, you got a job.
That's right. Jump shot will travel, right?
Bingo. Yeah.
So anyway, I have him that season. Miami reached the finals. That was the bubble year. They had Jimmy Butler was awesome that year. They had Bam Adebayo, Dragic, the point guard. But Duncan Robinson was a big part of that success story. He's never been able to replicate it. The league, they pay attention to him now, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, that season, I have that as the 6th best season in NBA history from three. The top 4 belong to Curry, and number 5 belongs to Kyle Korver.
Kyle Korver.
That is, nice
another one-dimensional player, but he could shoot it. And that's the thing.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Anyway, what else? Let's get back down. Talk Pistons, right?
Well, yeah.
I'm going to ask you guys first impressions. What are your first impressions? 6 games in.
I like how they're locking down the fourth quarter. I mean, I like how they're finishing teams off. I like how they finished that game in Mexico against the Mavericks. I like that they're coming back. I don't like their starts. Their starts are a little bit not good, but their second half play in the fourth quarter, I think they outscored the Mavs 35-18 in the fourth quarter of Mexico. And those are the kind of numbers that would be that would flipped before, where the Pistons would be the ones who the other team would take the fourth quarter to. The Pistons this year are, I think continuing to grow and continuing to learn how to finish teams off and how to grind out wins, and that's something that they just didn't do, for such a long time.
Yeah, grinding is a great way to put it. Yeah, they're not hitting on all cylinders, and yet they're 4-2.
Mm-hmm.
So I would take that as a good sign. What about Nick? Have you had a chance to watch many Piston games? There's only been 6.
I've watched a couple in the beginning, or like the first couple of games. I have a similar comment to Greg. It's like, they got behind in the, early on in the game and had to dig their way out of a hole. And I forget which team really beat them bad. They could never get out of it.
They got clocked by Cleveland.
Yeah. And
right.
But part of it, too, is they brought in a few new guys who were replacing players that had key roles. And I usually, in that case, they have to figure out how to play with one another, like Duncan Robinson for Beasley, LeVert for, what's his name, Hardaway, which were those guys were key contributors. And they're trying to figure out what to do with yet another Ivy injury. So there's a little bit of that. And so I don't want to read too much into early games other than they're, trying to adjust to one another. But the fact that they are grinding it out is actually very helpful, because before last year, they're 20 points behind. They could just put their heads between their legs and kiss their asses goodbye.
That would be the middle of the second quarter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And
they've had some good wins. Houston on the road, that's a team projected to win 50-plus games. They beat Orlando, who's projected to win about 50 games. They beat and then they beat Dallas, who's, they're in a little bit of a tailspin. And they beat Boston. They got issues, but it has not been an easy schedule for them. It's been no cupcakes. 4-2, and as you were saying, they're dealing with a major hole with that second ball handler. Ivy being out and Schroeder gone. That's and then Sasser hasn't played yet. So and then you got the Beasley being gone after coming off that incredible year. So lots of holes, and they find themselves 4-2. What about you, Big Al? Have you been...
Well, the one thing that stands out, at least over the last couple of games, was obviously the biggest bugaboo with Cade Cunningham has been turnovers. And in the last 2 games, he's got an assist to turnover ratio of 28-1. Wow. he had an 18 assist game in Mexico City. The game before that, he had 10. And he's only had 1 turnover in those 2 games. And if he has got the turnovers under control, the sky's the limit for that guy. That and his 3-point shooting. His 3-point shooting is still maddeningly inconsistent, but overall, I am considering. And you're making some point. He's still trying to figure out this team, because he's got a different running mate at shooting guard again. The spacing is still kind of out of whack because they're playing a lot of Holland and Osser. So. Yeah, it's for all the kind of mixing and matching they've had to do with the roster and the pivot they had to do because of the Beasley stuff. I have no complaints of 4-2 and not much to complain about with how the team's playing. Would I like to see them get off to better starts? Yeah, but 4-2 right now, I think anybody would be thrilled with that record right now.
During the off season, I was pretty quiet online, but on Reddit, somebody posted the statement. Basically, Cade Cunningham needs to do this blank to get to the next, to be a top 10 player.
Right.
And everybody was writing cut down turnovers, improve the 3-point shooting. I wrote 2 words.
Yeah.
Bulk up. He needs to go into the gym, come back, and be stronger. And when he showed up this year,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't pleased. You
Yeah.
know, I felt like he's not a weightlifting gym rat, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep thinking about Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, how every year they get stronger and stronger. You know, now he needs that. And when you talk about the 3-point shooting, that's why it's not there. He expends a lot of energy as the ball handler. He needs to be strong to help him shoot the three, to not be fatigued. And then also his and ones, he needs to be able to, score through contact. And I felt like when the season started, he was turning it over. He was shooting the ball poorly again. And I'm like, okay, I love Cade, but it's the same Cade. And he's at that age where, you're looking for growth. So we'll see how that plays out. But
Yeah.
all right, finally, I want to talk a little, if I may, talk about Trajan Langdon.
Sure.
Who, he's now, as you said, Greg, 1+ years into this. And if I can offer my assessment, what I'm just struck by is that all of his moves starting last year, there's never been a move where I said, that's amazing. He hired, they hired Bickerstaff. It's like, okay, yeah, he's a vet. And, Tim Hardaway Jr., yeah, all right, he's a vet. Tobias, well, we got to stop the bleeding, bring in the vet, okay. Then they brought, Malik Beasley, okay, he's kind of up and down, but all right. Well, I'm forgetting someone in that group. But nothing that made me just jump out of my seat and go, yeah, great move, right? And then they improved, threefold in the win column to 43 wins. And then you go to this off season with, the Beasley situation, and then they let Hardaway walk. And I'm very reluctant about criticizing him, because, these unexciting moves, Duncan Robinson, and who else did they bring in? I can't.
LeVert.
Yeah, Karis LeVert. Like, okay, a couple of vets just like Hardaway and Harris and Beasley. So I think it shows a lot, just the importance. Basketball is a jigsaw puzzle, and the pieces got to fit, and they do. They did, and they do. Whereas you look at a team like Phoenix, that idea of the big three, that doesn't seem to always work. Phoenix was a disaster with Durant and Beal and Booker. They lost more games than they won, and that's happened a lot. And I'm wondering now if that's the trend in the NBA. It's depth, having good depth, having the pieces fit. It's hard to put together just a complete dominant team, and just you come in with a solid, steady Eddie team. That's enough to contend.
Well, there's actually a lot of examples of where a team will collect a bunch of stars and it's just a disaster, right? I mean, probably the last 2 or 3 teams that Durant has been on was probably like that. When he was at Brooklyn, he had him, Kyrie, and who was it, James Harden?
Kyrie, James Harden, and Durant. Yeah, they got kind of close. Nash was the coach. They got to the conference championship game, but it never felt like they were as good as, the sum of the parts were not better than, what am I saying? Help me on that.
I know what you mean. Like,
they weren't as good as on paper,
Exactly.
Well, I think
Clippers
if I can
too.
Interject,
So
the Clippers, yeah, the Clippers for sure. Yeah, Paul George walked and they got better. And if you look at Chicago, they've been stuck in like the 38 win purgatory for years, and they traded their name guys, DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine for, they got 3 dimes for a quarter in both cases, and it worked. They've got depth, and they're winning. They have a nice team now. The pieces seem to fit. So I guess the Pistons are in that category. They got Cade. But then who's the second piece? We got to talk about Jalen Duren. I mean, I'd say it's stupid to even categorize this as MVP of the team, but 6 games in, I mean, this guy, he's just been, destroying everybody.
I mean, he was a monster in Mexico City.
Yeah.
I didn't see the game, but I looked at the box score afterwards. I'm like, he had 30. He outscored like everybody. So,
Well, at his per 36-minute numbers this year, he is at, he's scoring 27 points, 15 rebounds, 2.5 blocks per 36 minutes. So last year was more like 15 and 14 and 1.5. So basically, he's taking 50% more shots. He's doubling his free throw attempts. Efficiency slightly down, but when you factor in the extra load, it's a win. I mean, his numbers are getting into the territory where he's going to get a max deal if he does this for the rest of the year.
And he's like 21 years old too. So,
so the Pistons were not able to extend him and Jaden Ivey, and we didn't hear. There was like no news on that. I mean, you guys helped me on that. If you heard anything, I didn't hear anything.
Other than the fact that they did not extend either one, that's
basically what the announcement was, that they elected not to extend either. So
there might be a strategy there where they ask them, hey, let's just wait a year so it helps with the cap next year. These guys are going to come in with a smaller, occupying less cap space, a hold as they call it, and then they can go out and grab other guys, and then they're going to come in with this over the salary cap payroll perhaps and be going for it. I hope that's the idea, but if it was simply because they couldn't come to an agreement, then Jalen Duren's going to win, because what he's doing right now is going to put him among the elite centers in the league. For many years, all these guys got max deals. And now the league seems to be, because of the changed loopholes in the players' agreement, and this is the first year the league's being more reluctant about offering that kind of money. And I'm just curious on how this is going to play out for both those guys, because you got Cade big money, you got Duren and Jaden Ivey are going to get paid. Then it's going to be Ausar Thompson's going to be eligible for an extension next summer. Sasser's going to be eligible. That payroll could, balloon, right?
Stewart's contract should be coming up too, right?
No, Isaiah re-signed last year. He's locked in for
just last year?
4
Okay.
years at $15 a year.
Okay.
So that's turning out to be a good move.
Okay.
So
do you think
he and Cade are locked in?
Do you think there's I can see the argument for trying to keep Jalen Duren, and he's been playing last year, he's playing this year. Do you think is Ivy even more is he somewhat questionable just because he's not played? And even when he's played, he has potential, but has never really been that consistent.
I think last year, it's easy to forget, but he played like the first 30 games or so. He was good. He was taking a step forward. It could be a good Robin to Cade's Batman, let's say. It looked like it was possible.
Right.
And he's physical. He plays with energy. He's a complimentary ball handler. He knows where his teammates are pretty much. So he should fit into the picture. We'll see how this year goes, but the Pistons obviously are hoping maybe to, tamp down his contract. Every dollar counts, and because of injuries, they might be able to do that, but I don't know by how much. The guy in Sacramento, Keegan Murray, who went picked before him, he got 5 years for $140. That's $28 million a year. I'm sure Jaden's agent's probably saying, we're as good as he is.
No, if he's got a good agent, he should be saying that. So.
Yeah.
Siddy, this is, you mentioned that the Pistons made that dramatic jump from 14 wins to 44. And so I was a little guarded this upcoming year because I felt like, well, this is kind of to me, it was kind of an integral year for this group because now they're not sneaking up on anybody. They're no longer the cuddly little Pistons that were everybody's doormat. And I was wondering how they were going to handle that. The little extra, maybe getting the other teams a little more stronger effort from their opponents and so forth. How could they continue to close out games? And so far so good. But do you have any concern about that over 82 that they can still build on their 44 wins, or do you think they're still going to be trending upward?
Yeah, I had the same reservations as you. Are they just going to keep making those jumps? They're that 29 win improvement was awfully big, and you hear these stat guys talk about the regression or whatever. But the Pistons, if they're going to improve, it's because they have young guys that are in that stage in their career where they're getting better. But one of those guys is hurt. And so that leaves, Cade and Duran. Duran is improving still. And then there's Ron Holland and Ausar Thompson, right? So there are like 5 guys that are in that window where they tend to get better, which in turn makes the team better, of course. So, but I was like you. I wasn't really expecting a huge jump this year, but I was aware that this is the year of the injury. You have Tyrese Halliburton's out for the year. Jason Tatum, same thing. We're guys are dropping like flies already. Trae Young's out for a month. You could just go, team by team. And, Cleveland now, Jared Allen's out. Darius Garland hasn't played. Donovan Mitchell's already coming up with nagging injuries. That East just looks wide open. If Cleveland falters, who's the best team? Is it going to be New York with those same 5 guys and Mitchell Robinson and like no bench? They're just 1 or 2 injuries away from sliding back. So the door is open in the East. This is a detour. This is a reason why we need to get rid of conferences. Because when the playoffs come around, we're going to have one conference with good teams sitting out, and the East is going to probably have a couple of weaklings squeaking in. But anyway, the Pistons, the conference is so weak. It seems like top 4, where they're sitting now, it's certainly in the realm of possibility. Of course, health is a big thing, right? And the Pistons have been pretty healthy the last year plus, with the exception of Jaden Ivey.
Yeah. And by the way, they're up 42-39 right now in the second.
At Memphis, right?
At Memphis, yep.
I wore my Memphis jersey today. I was going to try
noticed.
and put a hex on Memphis. and plus,
it's working so far.
Giving an acknowledgement to, the knee-jerk listeners and viewers from West Tennessee. They're all over the place. So on both, Anyway, I guess the one thing too, if we have time to talk about, is we got to talk about Malik Beasley. This is a subject. This gambling thing. I went on Twitter and made one comment. I think it's overblown. I think we get all. We throw out the baby with the bathwater whenever there's the word gambling comes up. And I can't help but sort of chuckle seeing just, the way the NBA is just, they're sleeping with Vegas, man. Making money, the advertising, all the announcers, updating you on live, betting. My God, and now Damon Jones, the assistant coach of the Lakers, let it be known to a buddy or an acquaintance that, LeBron is sitting out tonight. And like, whoa, Damon Jones, you're fired. It's kind of extreme, right?
Yeah. With the Beasley thing, as you're saying, I don't think he was ever indicted on anything. He was under investigation.
Yeah.
And so there's like meaning to some of those to the exact words that they use when they talk about this stuff. And I thought at some point he was no longer under investigation, but I think it was the FBI in particular.
Right now, it's the NBA
then,
internal investigation.
Exactly. And it's like I don't even know what the hell that means.
This could turn into a lawsuit.
I mean, this could be like the NBA covering your ass kind of thing. And
they're setting example. You know what I mean? They got it, the integrity of the game. I mean, there's been no accusation of teams trying to lose, right?
Mm-hmm. No,
most prop bets. It's all these prop bets. Though.
Yeah, exactly. It's gaming the prop bets. It's trying to fix the prop bets more than point shaving or anything like that. But remember, they said the same thing about Terry Rozier. That he was cleared, and then this past week the feds just arrested him again. So
there is video now of Rozier's action, and it is horrific. Some of his performances in the past. How a guy who makes $25 million a year can be in this position. He's a 10-year vet. He's not a kid,
right?
And Chauncey Billups is not a kid. But
and his is even odder with being essentially the bait in mobbed up poker games to draw in whales. You want to play poker with an NBA player? Like, oh my God.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's Chauncey. Take a selfie with Chauncey. No pictures allowed, right?
That one was really bizarre. I think Rozier, though, I read something where he's in deep financial doo-doo, basically.
Somehow.
So regardless of what he's
right. Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, I think he had some tax liens. Maybe he wasn't paying.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, Beasley seems to have made a lot of those same bad financial decisions as well. But the thing is, though, he's being very cryptic on social media. He's like, I think Beasley posted something the last day or so saying, "I'm going back to Detroit. Guess why?" But no NBA team's going to sign him right now. It's too big of a risk, money wise, contract wise.
Well,
until he's been fully cleared.
I follow Malik on Instagram, and he did not seem to have a care in the world during the summer. He was in Europe with his girlfriend or wife, just going to Disney World in France, and nothing. It didn't seem to be bothering him,
Yeah.
He was testing out McDonald's in France to see if it was as good as in the States, and silly things like that, right?
Yeah, right.
But he did finally say though, hey, it cost me $42 million. And he made a great point. He goes, if I have a bad game, everyone's going to be coming at me,
Yeah.
There's no room for error for him. He can't have a bad game. Everyone's going to be suspicious. And this reminds me, if you go back in the history of the NBA, way back in the early years, there was a player named Alex Groza. And if you haven't heard of him, you've probably heard of his brother, Lou Groza. He played in the NFL, Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And Alex Groza he played at Kentucky on a powerhouse, and they got caught up in a point shaving scandal. So he was kind of busted like 2 years later after he was out of, when he was at Kentucky, him and some teammates admitted to having accepted like $2,000.
Right.
And I don't know if that was each or if they divided it, but so in the meantime, Groza goes into the NBA, and he was awesome. He played 2 years. He was arguably the best player in basketball. He came in. He was with my scoring stats, best scorer in the league both years. Number 2 was George Mikan both years. Heads and shoulders above the rest of the league. Clearly not tanking. Right? But no. You did something at Kentucky. You're banned for life. Baby in the bathwater again.
Yeah.
And this guy lost his career. He lost his way to make a living. He ended up being like an executive on an ABA team. But it was just the punishment didn't meet the crime.
Right.
And he was never even accused of doing anything in the NBA. It was college. So now you look at Malik Beasley last year. That was one of the great off the bench, seasons in recent history. Second in the league and made threes. I talked about it repeatedly last year. I had him as number 11 in impact scoring nights, like tied with Kevin Durant. And we're going to talk about him like not trying. Doesn't make sense. And if you go back to the original reports, which you never even like hear about this stuff, the original accusation was that there was a gambler in Mississippi who made, in like a 12 or 24-hour period, the guy went into some casino and made repeated under bets on Beasley that added up to like $12,000. It doesn't make sense. I mean, he went on like some riverboat gambling boat and was making bets on Beasley on the under. Is that the accusation? Is that the problem here? It doesn't make sense. There's got to be something they're not telling us. You know?
So is that the only?
If that is true, then any of us can call any NBA player and say, you know what? I'm going to go to a casino and make a shitload of bets on the under in your name, unless you give me $500,000. Extortion. Why not?
Well,
Your
like you
career is
said,
over.
Siddy, at the top of this topic, you said, you know, the NBA is in bed with Vegas, and what did you expect? You know, what did you can't you turn on a game and all the odds are scrolling on the bottom of the screen like a ticker, like a New York Stock Exchange ticker. I mean, I mean, of course you're gonna. My fear is we're gonna have another Tim Donaghy situation. I don't know if it's going to be in basketball or in what sport. My fear, because it's not just basketball that this is infiltrating, of course. I'm afraid that there's going to be some scandal where, you know, game officials are caught up in something, and then once you cross that Rubicon, it's one thing for the Roziers of the world and so forth, and Beasley, you know, whatever. But once you start getting into the realm of game officials potentially, who can influence games, of course, potentially being on the take, if you will. You know, Tim Donaghy so far is a one-off, but if you start to get into a situation where, who knows, there's a scandal involving multiple officials. Now, I don't know how you come back from that, because you can talk all you want about all this, the integrity of the game when it comes to players. But when you've got game officials, and I hope to God that doesn't happen, but I'm afraid we're going to pick up the paper one day.
Yeah, imagine a game where you take over on free throws made.
Something like that.
You're the ref.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, right. Like Al said, it's not necessarily who wins or loses the game. Like Al says, it's not a point shaving thing necessarily. It's these, what you just said, like individual little prop bets, the free throw thing you're talking about, stuff like that may not necessarily impact the who wins or loses, although it could. But that kind of thing, I'm just afraid we're gonna wake up one day and there's gonna be some bombshell. And I hope that doesn't happen, because once that happens, I don't know if you come back from that. I really don't.
Well, I would just like to see the NBA take a little more responsibility here in feeding the monster, you know?
Yeah.
And now they're like doing this, you know, oh, you guys, got to go, you know?
Yeah.
Wasn't there like a baseball pitcher who like every first pitch, he was like throwing the ball in the dirt?
That was just this year. Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
Emmanuel Clase looks like he's going to be out of baseball for good. They're not even letting him play in the Dominican League right now.
Yeah.
So he can't even play winter baseball.
I think the Cleveland Guardians have like 3 guys altogether wrapped up in some kind of gambling thing. So,
well, maybe football. Is football immune because you got so many guys on the field and they can't, most of them don't touch the ball, though they couldn't be involved in blocking and tackling, of course. But is football more immune to this, do you think?
I don't know. They could fake injuries, fake an injury so they have, like, a wide receiver doesn't have so many receptions in the game.
Yeah, he has Butterfingers for one game.
Yeah, but it's kind of inherently hard to fix. It'd be inherently harder to fix football just because there's so many players involved. Wow. You know, where one guy can still have a bad game and a team can still pull out a win if you're talking about point shaving. But yeah, it just seems like in basketball, especially. I mean, miss a couple free throws or have a slightly off shooting night and it wouldn't be hard at all to fix prop bets. I think right now that's the big. Right now it's not point shaving. Like I said, Greg said that could be more on the referees and that kind of stuff. It's a lot of going on. There's a lot of things going on, but right now it's more about the prop bets than point shaving. But it's a very slippery slope, because back in the 50s, the colleges had major scandals. As Siddy alluded to earlier. One of the biggest ones, CCNY.
CCNY, they defeated Kentucky, and that was one of the games where Alex Groza and his gang got in trouble.
Exactly. That was point shaving, and that was a major scandal right now. But the thing is, Siddy, is that Silver seems to be very milquetoast in his response to all this stuff for the most part. David Stern would have been losing his mind with all these scandals going on in the NBA between the so-called salary cap circumvention with the Clippers, and then the other things you've been talking about with betting and and like I said, I told you guys earlier, I did find the article about the embezzlement going on with the Atlanta Hawks, and here's the headline in The Athletic. Former Atlanta Hawks senior vice president charged with embezzling $3.8 million to buy a Porsche and tickets and other things. Apparently, this guy he told the team to pay a $229,000 American Express bill for a team stay at the Wynn Hotel in Vegas, and apparently the entire bill was made up. It had never happened.
What's his name?
It's here. Let me bring it up here. Lester Jones, the team's senior vice president of financial planning and analysis.
Well, I'm always thinking about GMs, and I can imagine a GM taking kickbacks from agents. They have so much power on the distribution of money.
Yeah.
And, you got like 5 different guys that want your final roster spot. You're like, well, who's going to send me $500,000? And your client gets the 15th roster spot, stuff like that.
Well, the stuff that's going on with the Clippers, you have to believe other teams have done something similar. Maybe weren't so blatant about it, or were better at covering it up to the point where this is something else. During the show, I got an email because Pablo Torre has been all over this story. He just put out an email tonight saying Steve Ballmer, the owner of the Clippers, has now been sued by 11 Aspiration Investors. That's the company involved with the Kawhi Leonard contract, who alleged salary cap circumvention for Kawhi Leonard.
He's an Oakland County guy. He wouldn't do that.
Yeah. So, really, the NBA as of late, there's been more drama off the court than on the court.
Well, the press is going crazy. It's like everyone's talking about it. It's titillating. My whole point is I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, it needs to be dealt with for sure. If it's the tip of the iceberg, then it's a big deal. But if you look at it individually, people want to hear this. There are a lot of people that think every game is fixed, so they want to hear this, and they're going to keep it alive and make it huge. When, again, let's go back to Malik Beasley. What was it exactly? Can someone explain? No one. It's a rhetorical question.
Right.
It's just like when you really look at each case, what is it? Guys, conferring. What are we saying now, that coaches can't talk to their wives about that night's game because they might give away the info that, what's considered to be, NDAs, I guess, So it's getting super, so they're asking all these people to be like superhuman and never say a word of things that you might just talk about in a normal conversation.
I miss the days where all we had to worry about was fantasy football.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, I hope for Malik, it works out for him, because I miss him as a fan. He was so fun last year. He was so exciting. He got an 82-game slog, and there's Malik coming off the bench and being all bouncy and knocking down threes. doing his hip shimmy.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And as a fan, I'm not happy about this.
No, of course not. Of course not.
I think the more bizarre one is that whole Chauncey Billups card game thing. It seems,
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what? It's
Yeah.
You know what though? Nick, there was also something else about Chauncey that kind of got a little bit buried in that was that he was accused. Chauncey was accused of doing the same thing that Siddy was referencing earlier about Damon Jones, which was Chauncey, of course, the head coach. He was sitting people.
Yeah.
And giving inside information about guys who would be sitting and that kind of stuff. And there was even a game they targeted one particular game. I can't remember. I think it was in the 23 season. They targeted one particular game that looked a little bit shady. So Chauncey's thing may not necessarily be just this poker thing. There may be some indeed NBA stuff going on there.
I remember.
I mentioned to you guys, man, the league's most casual coach. His sideline demeanor. His hands in the pockets. He's all relaxed and cool. And maybe he's like talking out of the side of his mouth to his friends. Yeah, Damien's not playing tonight.
Right.
Little help for his friends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Interesting.
Anything else, Siddy? I think we made the decision to just roll with you here, and then we're gonna say goodnight. So, is there anything else that you wanted to
That's
talk
it.
about?
I had on my list Dumars Weaver, but let's save that for another day. The winless Pelicans who traded their first round draft pick with no protection. They have no first next year. That was Weaver and Dumars' first move, and the whole league is just like, you got to be kidding. Atlanta is the owner of that pick.
But then they also traded away the first pick from the Pacers as well, back to the Pacers.
Yeah,
so
I thought they remember the details. Well, they might have a pick next year, but it's not their own.
No, they don't have that either. I thought they had like 2 first picks. So they received the Pacers pick because they traded away some player to the Pacers. And so like at the end of the season, they originally had like 2 first-round picks, but traded both of them away. So they have nothing, like you said. And but is there talk also of firing the coach? Because that's Dumars' specialty.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
He's been itching. He hasn't fired a coach in years. So I think Siddy froze on us, or he's in shock. I'm not sure which.
I think he said that there might be some issues.
Right. Well, he lasted pretty long. Yeah. So there he goes. Yeah.
He did. He really did. That's funny though about Dumars. You're right.
Oh God, I'm glad I'm not a Pelicans fan. Like, is anybody a Pelicans fan?
Poor Zion. That kid gets drafted by the Pelicans, and there's nothing but just turmoil ever since he's been in the league.
Yeah.
Van Gundy's gone through there. He's had like 3 or 4 coaches already. Now you got the front office in turmoil. I don't know what they were thinking about hiring Dumars. I don't. That was a head scratcher. Just because he's from Louisiana, I don't know. It's just
and then bringing in Weaver is just how do you make that shit up? I mean, like seriously.
I think Troy would be a good. No, I always go. I think Troy would be a good. I think his milieu is in. I think Troy can evaluate talent. I really do. I just think that he was the one that brought Duran in Detroit.
Yeah.
I think Troy can evaluate talent. I think he's just a very poor. Doesn't know how to construct rosters and do the other things that a GM should do. But I think he's a pretty good. I think he's got an eye for talent. I really do. Troy Weaver.
I have mixed feelings about that. And, he also drafted Ian Haynes too. So,
it's fair.
So he was entertaining during trade deadlines and draft night because that was I didn't say he did intelligent stuff, but it was a circus, and you were always curious, like, what is he going to do next? Like his last year, how the hell do you trade away literally almost half your team, half your roster? And what you get back is like just different guys, but the same result.
Yeah.
So that's some talent. That's talent.
Anything
Well, I
else,
lost
Siddy?
you guys for a second.
Yeah, we lost you for a
I,
little bit. It wasn't too long.
So I had to go to I had to do a costume change.
Yeah, I
so-
see that now. You're
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, I think I covered all my points. So why don't we call it a night? Go watch the second half of the Pistons.
Good timing.
All right. Well, it's always a pleasure having you on, Siddy. Like I said, I'm sure we'll have you on again halfway through the year, and hopefully we'll have some positive, more positive news to talk about the Pistons and less off the court BS to talk
Yeah.
about.
Okay.
So
It's going to be Malik as a Piston once again.
that would be, they definitely could use them.
All right.
All right.
Good.
Well,
Thank you very
Siddy.
much.
Thank you.
Good.
All right.
Good
We'll
night,
talk to you
Siddy.
soon.
Take
All
care.
right.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
All right.
All right, that's always fun talking to Siddy, and his quizzes, boy, he puts you can tell he puts the effort into them.
Oh,
things.
sure he does.
Oh,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, because as always, when we have Siddy on, we went very long, longer than we anticipated. We were thinking maybe 45 minutes. We ended up doing about an hour and 20.
That's all right.
So I think we're going to wrap this show up. So let's do our jerk of the week, and then we'll get out of here. So, Nick, who's your jerk of the week?
For me, I was going to go with originally all that college football nonsense and all the buyout crapola. I
Yeah.
want to go to something that popped up today,
Yeah.
Okay.
and that is the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so this year is the year they have like the contemporary committee, and I forget which year the players were, but basically there are like 8 guys that are on this ballot. And one of them is not Lou Whitaker, which of course Tiger fans just lost their minds about.
Always, yeah.
And my gripe isn't about why isn't Lou Whitaker on there, because I can think of reasons why he's not and reasons why they overlooked him, and it's sad. So this jerk of the week is not about Lou Whitaker specifically, but about the whole fucking process for the particularly in baseball, and like how do guys get into the Hall of Fame, and then like who votes. Because I think if I understand them correctly, so a guy retires 5 years later, he's eligible for the
Right.
Hall of Fame.
Correct.
But the only people who are voting on that are the baseball writers. And I don't understand why that is. It just kind of makes no sense to me why those are the only judges of that. Why aren't Hall of Fame players involved in why aren't the contemporaries of these players, have some kind of say so, some kind of voting in there? Like, why is it just those guys? And then let's say they never passed the hurdle of however many years. I think it's like 15 or some ridiculous, up to 15 years of like being on the ballot before they are dropped off.
Right.
In some cases, if you're not, it's like you don't get like 5%, you get
Right.
kicked off.
You have to. Right. There's
Right.
a threshold. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But let's just say through the normal process, they don't get in. However, whatever it is, and then they go into these weird ass committees
Right.
to get in, and
Right.
how that's decided. Why are there only 8? I have a feeling if Lou's name comes in, and I think this committee meets once every 3 years.
I feel like they've got more than one of these kind of committees, though, don't they?
Yeah,
They
because you
do.
have for different eras. Yeah.
That's right, and I think my guess is they have this committee comes in once every 3 years, but there are 3 committees, so there's another committee next year, and then a different committee.
Oh,
the
they
year after
rotate,
that.
in other words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, on like 3-year cycles.
Mhm.
With that kind of format, I could see Lou Whitaker never getting into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, and not even getting a chance
Yeah.
to be on the ballot. So I don't know why they don't just put all the fucking players on this ballot and let whoever votes vote for those players. And I mean, you also have the controversies, like what do you do with Bonds and Clemens?
Yeah. Right.
How do you deal with this whole steroid issue?
Right.
So, so I think it's just a clusterfuck. And so my jerk of the week is the Baseball Hall of Fame and its election process.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Greg, who's your jerk of the week?
I'm going to go with Washington Commanders head coach Dan Quinn.
Okay.
Oh my God, that was an ugly injury. Yeah.
As you know, I know you. The Commanders lost this number.
Greg, your mic changed. I can't.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Jaden Daniels, the Commanders quarterback, went down with a dislocated elbow. He's going to be out for a number of weeks. And the reason why I'm making Quinn my jerk of the week is because Daniels was hurt in a 38-7. The Commanders were trailing 38-7 with like less than half the fourth quarter remaining, and against the Seahawks, and was injured on a scramble play. Went down awkwardly and on his elbow, and now he's going to be gone for I don't know how many weeks. It was a pretty bad looking injury. Mm-hmm. And Quinn initially came out and was kind of non-committal about or certainly didn't really take necessarily any blame for that. But in his presser today, he absolutely did a mea culpa and said that it was 100% on him. He said, I just missed it. I don't know what that means. But yeah. He admitted it, that he should never have had Daniels in the game in that situation with the Commanders trailing 38-7. There was 7:39 left. 7:39 left to go in a game they were down by 4 or 5 scores. And that's, I don't know if you call Jaden Daniels the franchise player, but he's close if he's not. Mm-hmm. And as many quarterbacks are, of course. And so I don't know what's going to happen with this kid. I don't know how long he's going to be out. Fortunately, it was not his throwing elbow. That's the one good thing.
That's the one saving grace.
But he said, and I give Quinn credit for for admitting that he made a mistake. But still, I don't know what's going through your head to have your starting quarterback out there when you're down by 31 points with 7 minutes to go. In a game you're clearly not going to win. Either way, either if you're up by 31 or down by 31, to have your starting quarterback in the game. Why? Because these kinds of things can happen. They're not playing tiddlywinks out there. So it's unfortunate for Daniels. I mean, for Daniels, of course, but it's not something. It's something that could have been avoided. So it's not a harsh jerk of the week. I don't like he's a bad guy or anything, but that was certainly a jerky, stupid decision that Dan Quinn made. And by the way, the Commanders, who were everybody's, darling last year, this is a typical poster child scenario of a team having a great kind of out of nowhere year, returning back to their level. Now I think they're 3-6 now. Yeah. And they were everybody's darling last year, and they had a fairly bright future. They have McLaurin, of course, and Daniels, and some pieces on defense. But this just shows you how hard it is in the NFL to be good from one year to the next. Not saying that the Commanders are not a good team. I'm not saying that they're going to be a 5-win team for the next 5 years. But this is just an example of how you got to be careful when you pick teams like that. Right. And now with Daniels out, I don't know. They may only win 5 or 6 games this year. I don't even know who their backup is. I really don't.
I believe it's Marcus Mariota, or as a matter of fact. So, oh boy, indeed. All right, my jerk of the week. Well, I was going to nominate someone named Greg Eno because he was at the Big House Saturday night, and I asked him to wave when we saw him on television, and he didn't wave. So I don't know. I'm just saying. But anyway, my jerk of the week, I'm going to go with the spat going on right now between YouTube and Google, or YouTube TV, and the Disney networks, ESPN, so on and so forth. I'm paying $82 a week for YouTube TV, the month, I should say. And the main reason I have it is because it is by far the best if you want sports. Because they had every network, other than the regional networks, which is a whole other can of worms. Yeah. They don't carry any regionals like the FanDuel. Like I can't watch FanDuel Detroit, but they had everything else: the Fox Sports networks, all the ESPN sports networks, the CBS sports networks, all the Turner networks that carry sports, plus your locals that have sports. Especially it's great on the weekend when you, especially out for college football Saturdays, when every channel has a college game. YouTube TV pretty much had every game you'd want to watch. Well, I got the email. I knew this was coming, and late over the weekend, they sent the email saying, we cannot come to an agreement. Disney has pulled all their channels off of YouTube TV. So that's every ESPN channel. That's ABC. That is all the Disney channels, all the FX channels. It is it was a huge number of channels. And the email YouTube sent out said, if this continues for an extended length of time, we'll give you a $20 credit. I'm like, what? $20 credit? You should be reducing my bill by over $20 for losing all those damn channels. But, so there's no word if anything's going on with this. If it continues, I'm just going to leave YouTube TV. There's other options. Hell, I can pirate the goddamn games. I got Monday Night Football on my tablet right now that I pirated, for example. So, it's, because I can't get it anything I own because I paid for YouTube TV. But yeah, this is an ongoing thing. It's going to get uglier and uglier between, say, you want to watch NBA this year? You need Amazon, you need Peacock, you need FanDuel, you need your locals, ABC, NBC, for example. And Andy, it's gotten to the point where I don't know where the hell to watch games anymore. My jerk of the week right now is Disney and YouTube for their spat. That is all that is doing is pissing off customers even more. It's getting harder and harder to watch the sports you want to watch. So, with that, we got to get out of here because I know Greg's got a heart out. So, it's time to go. So, Nick, anything you'd like to promote or tell people your social media before we get out of here?
I'll keep it quick. You'll find me on Twitter at Nick Milanovich. Just look for my name. That's where I'll talk about Detroit sports. So that's it.
All right. Greg,
Thanks
tell us how to get all your stuff. Yes. Please. Thank you.
First, good stuff with Siddy as usual. Love the quiz. Love the talk. He's always so informed and knows so much about the NBA. It's great to talk to him.
Leon Douglas,
Leon Douglas. We're going to be.
What?
We're going to try to, and this is an idea that Nick brought up. We're going to try. I don't know when we'll be able to pull this off. We're going to try to get a guest for our listeners and viewers that can provide some insight on the gambling thing. Nick brought up this in our chat. I think it's a good idea. We're going to try to get somebody on here who can speak to this. I don't know who it would be, and I don't know from which perspective, but we're going to work on that for you. Meanwhile, follow me on X at Greg Eno. Please subscribe to my Aaron putting up with this nonsense every 2 weeks, and thank you, gentlemen, for making, in this case, Monday night so gosh darn fun.
Yeah, indeed. And I thank you both, Nick and Greg, for taking time out of your busy schedules to chat sports and putting up with my traveling all over the goddamn place. Like I said, I literally just got home from Traverse City a few hours ago, so I appreciate how we're kind of doing these podcasts now to sort of become a stream of consciousness more than anything else, very scripted. But and it's working out well. I'm having a lot of fun doing it this way. Yeah. But I really appreciate everybody who listens to the show. Please like, share, and subscribe. You can find all the social media links at thekneejerks.net. Everything we talk about, Greg's links, Nick's links will all be found there. If you want to continue to subscribe to the show, you can find us anywhere podcasts are aggregated, including Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, Deezer, Radio Public, Ghana. Pretty much anywhere podcasts are found, just type in the Knee Jerks Podcast. You will find us. We also live stream the show. Every episode we do a live video stream straight to YouTube and Twitch. So if you want to see us, not just listen, just go to YouTube or Twitch and look up the Knee Jerks Podcast. You can find us there. So let's get the hell out of here. So I'm not sure when we're going to record next because I'm going to be in Florida. I'm leaving for Florida next week. I'm going to be gone for 9 days, so we'll have to talk about that later on. So I'm not sure when we're going to record next. Sometime within the next month, we're going to record again. So until that time, this is Al Beaton saying good evening, good luck, and aloha, along with Nick Milanovich.
Good night, guys.
And, of course, Greg Eno.
Ciao, everybody. We'll see you whenever.
Yes.